Good morning, mornings with the Outlaw Crew. What's up? I am the Outlaw John Rocha coming to you live here from Beverly Hills in the Outlaw Nation studios, and I'm joined by the lovely Alex Shashek over there in St. Louis. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm pretty darn spiffy. I had a slightly late start to the morning, but then I saw this little
Right?
trailer that just kind of came out, and I was like, you know what? This is a good omen. You feel me?
Yeah.
This is a good omen to a great day. So
I agree with you. This is the way to a great day. And sorry, I had to get up and close the door. I forget that my girlfriend is now working from home with me. So I have to be aware of that to be not too loud when I'm doing stuff here in the studio. But,
very nice of you.
thank you, thank you. But yeah, exciting stuff definitely tonight. Today we're going to talk about the Mandalorian season 2 trailer that dropped. Obviously, we don't have all the details, and of course, other people are going to be analyzing the hell out of it throughout the rest of the day as they go frame by frame. So we're going to give our initial reactions, what we enjoyed and what we liked about the trailer. Then we'll get into some Jason Momoa news, some Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror news, some Mulan box office news, some Guillermo del Toro stuff as well. And who knows, we'll pop up and whatever questions you all want to ask us. And remember, Streamlabs and Super Chats, those are open. Want to have you guys sending in stuff, asking us questions. That keeps the lights on here in the Outlaw Nation and keeps this show going as well. A lot of you say you love this show and you enjoy watching this show when we have it twice a week. So please support it any way that you can, and we appreciate it. So send them all in when you get a chance. And thanks to everybody who is joining us here on this lovely morning. We've got 43 of you all watching us right now to start off the day. I'm sure there'll be more as we go along. So please remember to hit that like button as well. Really important, hit that like button. And for those of you who are starting to watch us after we've already recorded live, please make sure you leave a comment down below and hit the like button. So you have two jobs. That would be great. So, all right, let's jump into it right off the bat, Alex. This Mandalorian season 2 trailer, I was just sitting around programming the show, getting the notes together, and then bam, this guy showed up on my television, on my computer screen, and it was fun. I mean, this has been long anticipated, long with. There was some anger amongst the fans in the Star Wars community that the trailer had not dropped yet, and then got this thing, and it was pretty intense and enjoyable as hell to watch. So much going on here for me. I don't know what your reaction was to it overall, but I love the fact that we had the nice combo of like down to earth, well, so to speak, down to earth stuff, like when they're on the water on a boat, and then you've got them up in the space. You've got X-wings. Is that ice planet? Is that Hoth again? Is he going back to Is he going to Hoth rather? What's the Baby Yoda situation? We got wrestler Sasha Banks. She was in the cloak, so is she going to play a bigger part than we thought? There was space wrestling going on. Baby Yoda can apparently hit that thing to cover himself up when he knows the Mandalorian is about to shoot everybody in the place. But we start off the trailer with the armorer telling him he has to bring Baby Yoda back to the Yoda people. So, and we've never seen the Yoda people or Yoda planet or anything like this. So I was incredibly excited by that. Alex, and of course, it was great to see everybody coming back. Were you excited about this? Are you excited? Are you thrilled with what we got, or did you feel like maybe you wanted a little bit more when it was over?
Honestly, I could have done with a little less to make, with that in mind. For me, when it comes to big trailers like this, I
Yeah.
personally believe less is more. And,
Okay.
like you said earlier, when it comes to when it comes to these Star Wars trailers, especially when for a fact, people are going to go by them frame by frame. We're going to learn about these characters. We're going to learn about the planets. And we're going to, based off the characters, we already have like a general inkling of what the plot is going to be like, as well. So I loved the trailer. I really did. But at the same time, me being me, I can go into watching this season knowing very little to nothing about it. You could have given me like a 10-second teaser and I'd be like, sold, done. So and not to mention, I was already sold on the idea of this trailer, going into, because I know so many of the cast, so much of the newer cast members are people that I'm really excited to see, like you said, with the wrestler, but also Rosario Dawson. I can't wait to see her. So there's so much. There's so much you can dive in, but yeah, I really loved it. Also, we actually got to see Baby Yoda be like, "Oh shoot, no." He's usually really excited and like very vocal and out there. He's like willing to get there, like but in this trailer he was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna hide. So it's a little serious, a little more serious.
Yeah, it was certainly action-packed, Alex. And, you get the quote that you expect me to search the galaxy and return this creature to a race of enemy sorcerers. Yeah, what does that mean? What Jedi are they going to run into? I've heard a lot of rumors because of where it's placed. And if you hang around on Reddit long enough, you see some interesting rumors that there might be a Luke Skywalker sighting in this show, that maybe he brings Baby Yoda to Luke after Luke in the Battle of Endor, and the rumors about Luke maybe getting involved with Ahsoka Tano. So there's all kinds of stuff that might be rolling around in this season 2. And you're right, you mentioned Rosario Dawson. We've also got Timothy Olyphant, and we've also got Tamora Morrison. Is Tamora Morrison going to play Boba Fett, or is he going to play Rex? Is Timothy Olyphant going to play Boba Fett, or is he Cobb Vanth? Like, there's all kinds of questions going on, but we got none of that in the trailer. That I can recall or remember, and I watched it 4 times. I don't think we saw any allusions to Boba Fett, any allusions necessarily to Rex or to Ahsoka Tano. We did see Sasha Banks in the cloak. I thought initially that was Rosario, and then I did a close-up, and it was, no, that's clearly Sasha Banks, the WWE wrestler. She's definitely going to be a part of season 2. But if they put her in the trailer, it feels like there might be something more. She might be playing a bigger role than people anticipated in this show. So that's exciting to see as well. It was great to hear Pedro Pascal talking again, getting into the armor. We do get shots of Cara Dune and Carl Weathers' character and all of that. And, however your feelings are about that, I certainly made my feelings known about some of the stuff she's been tweeting lately on Twitter. But, that's neither here nor there for right now. We want to talk about the trailer. And I thought I also like the fact that it's got this kind of, I don't know, escape from LA or escape from New York kind of vibe to it when he's down in the pit with the wrestlers stuff. And then you go on this like swashbuckling adventure, and then of course up in space with the X-Wings and what have you. So certainly this feels like a season that's going to be operating on multiple fronts. And Jon Favreau said it's going to be a little more of a connected season rather than one-off episodes. Were you excited by all the different environments you got to see in the trailer?
Absolutely. I did say earlier, when it comes to these trailers, to me, less is more. However, Star Wars is obviously, I feel like, when it comes to these examples of really fantastic world building, I am so amazed with this world in particular because it is so beautiful. It's so large, and it's so creative and weird and fun, and so vastly, one planet is so vastly different from the next, which is one of my favorite things, how crazy it can be. So I don't like, to be completely honest, I really do not like the idea of them, with the idea of like possibly bringing back the Skywalkers in any degree. I'm so done with the Skywalker story. I am done with that. This is this world, it spans millennia, and we're still retreating to the same group of kids. I mean, come on, guys, like we're done. We're done. But yeah, you're right, it definitely was, like you said, there's a lot of vibes. There was a lot more focus on the adventure, a lot more focus on the action. That I'm really, really excited for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear you. And I'm sure there's a large contingent of Star Wars fans who feel the same way you do, Alex, that it's like, all right, enough with the Skywalkers, enough. But I personally, me seeing Luke again after the Endor battle would be kind of fun. But I totally get your point. This idea of like, do we have to do it again? But maybe this is their way of kind of retro saving.
10 movies not enough. Come on. You're right. Let's just go get Mark. Mark, do you want to do like 4 more stories? Mark?
Dude,
no? Yeah,
dude,
maybe.
Dude. Mark, dude.
Mark, dude, Mark.
Dude.
Marky.
Marky. Okay.
Marky Mark. Hammy, Mr. Ham.
Senor Hamil. That's certainly possible. And they might de-age him or something. But I think also if there is a Luke, I think it's their way of kind of maybe retro saving Luke's character. From the way he was done in the sequel trilogy that we got here. A lot of people were really unhappy with how Luke was portrayed in that. So, and there's some people who did like it. So, it's both sides. So, but maybe they'll do that. But I hear you. There's probably a large contingent of people like, no more Luke, no more Skywalkers, enough. Let's move on. So, but it is set around that time. So them running into them is not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Dude, bro,
Dude,
Marky, bro.
my dude, my bro. You want to do a few more movies? Do you want to do any more movies?
Want to get paid?
Let's focus. Yeah, let's just kind of focus on a new thing. I mean, like there's like a new group of people, new group of assassins or adventurers, or like you said, some squashbuckling space adventure people. It's just the Skywalkers have had their whole situation. I kind of want a chance for some more characters to really shine.
What if it was a one episode thing where they had Luke there and it was not even for one episode, not even for one episode.
Maybe a scene.
Oh, a scene is all you'd
single
want.
Scene in that thing, maybe, or a single scene where it's like a sit down conversation where it can dive into it. But that's it. What?
Okay, I was thinking Kenobi, but Kenobi's dead by this point in the storyline. Yoda's passed by this point in the storyline as well. So, because this is kind of after the Battle of Endor. So, what other Jedi would they run into? Would Leia be a possibility? Is Leia a possibility? Would that be too much?
I don't know. We can talk about Rey Skywalker, right?
Yeah. What's in the Jedi Council? I mean, what are these sorcerers? Are they hiding out still? I remember this is right after the Battle of Endor. So yes, they've won, but doesn't mean like the entire Empire has disappeared out of the galaxy. There may still be people who are, for the Empire and may want to still hunt down Jedi. So I'm sure the Jedi aren't going to walk out into the sunlight and be like, we're cool again, everybody. What's up? It's going to be a little more of a kind of clandestine thing. So what Jedi will they run into? Who will they encounter? This is very interesting as well. And will they find a way to tie it to that High Republic series that they're messing around with? Because that's from a different time. Will they have ancestors or descendants, depending on where they're placing that, that will, connect up into this area of the Mandalorian? I don't know. There's a lot to explore for sure.
There's bazillions. Why do we want to focus down on the same family, the same group of DNA, when there's literally billions upon billions of people, of species that we can go into, different, I mean, oh my gosh. Like there's so much we can do. I would love for maybe it could be, I don't want it to be even remotely related. It could be like, my cousin's uncle's brother's former roommate was a Padawan was like one of the Padawan that almost died, but when, up there, but that's all I want. I really do. Maybe, like I said, maybe a conversation.
Oh yeah. Conversation. Is Ezra Bridger a possibility? I mean, after Rebels and, if Ahsoka's in this, then certainly Sabine is a possibility. So and a lot of people are saying the rumor is that Sasha Banks might be playing Sabine Wren. That could be possible. We could have Ezra Bridger. That's a Jedi, so to speak, that could be possible in this situation. I mean, there's a lot of ways they can go, and I agree with you, a million different ways other than going towards the Skywalkers. But Disney. Disney.
It's almost like Disney wants to make money. It's crazy. It's almost like they know for a fact if we use some of these characters, they're going to make bank. So
we could make some money.
It's weird how that's a big motivator.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 100 y'all watching us right now live. Thank you so much for joining us. Please hit that like button. Only 62 likes right now. Let's get up to that 150 likes. I mean, if you're watching us, just take 2 seconds to swing that cursor button over and hit that thumbs up. Am I saying that right? Is it the cursor button? Isn't that what it is? The cursor? Sorry, the cursor.
Mouse?
The mouse, fine. Swing the mouse over.
I just call it a mouse. I don't know. Cursor button?
So the little arrow, is that the mouse or is that the cursor? That's the cursor, isn't it? What do you kids say nowadays? I don't know. I
just say I'm moving the mouse towards this direction. I'm
moving up mouse, dog.
That's the way it goes. Yeah, totally. That's me. He started that, not me. I just want to clarify, guys. Just pointing that out there.
Let's get into some Streamlabs and super chats here real quick. Brian the Brawler says, I'm going to be very annoyed if this all connects into Skywalker stuff. Star Wars has tons of comic books canon that was recently deemed not canon that you can mess with. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Are you on board? You're on board with this, Alex. I know you are.
Yeah, this dude Brian Brawler and I, yeah, we're in like Flynn. We're like together. We're two peas in a pod when it comes to our ideas. Yeah, the Skywalkers are done. I don't want any more with them. Let's just move on to another awesome family or story.
Yeah.
Let's just more. Come on, just away. We're done. We're done.
All right, we've got some streamlines that have come through as well. We are done for that particular Skywalker, hopefully. Ben Rayner says, "Hey, Rocha and Alex, hope you had a good weekend. This trailer was awesome. The moment that killed me was it looks like a boxing ring or something, and action is about to go down, and the child shielded himself. LOL, that was awesome. Hashtag this is the way." Yeah, Alex, certainly that was a fun little moment seeing baby Yoda kind of hit that thing, or the child hit that thing and like cover himself up in his little I don't know, circular cube or whatever, and circular protecting thing, and then it all goes dark, and Mando takes care of everybody. But that was also for me the Escape from New York moment, because that feels just like the wrestling ring in Escape from New York. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but I did.
I feel bad. I that's a movie I need to put on the movies I haven't seen yet.
Cinema bias.
Cinema bias. It's that, yeah.
That
that's like Kurt Russell's just like an actor in general. I've seen like 2 movies with him in it, and one of them was like it was a Christmas movie. So, I don't know how I think I watched that with my mom.
The Christmas.
I don't know how. I watched it with my mom. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, you're not kidding. That was actually one of my favorite movies. Favorite moments of the teaser, the trailer. I was just like picturing him. He's like, "Give me some chicken nuggets," and be like, "Okay," just like going in. And like I said, it's we're used to seeing Baby Yoda being like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be part of the action, yay!" But suddenly, what situation where he's like, "Oh shoot, no, I don't want this."
Right.
Like something has to be going down.
Yeah, and you have to see it, and you see that clearly throughout the whole trailer, like what that stuff's going down all the time, and what he's trying to figure out. Also, there is a scene where it looks like Baby Yoda is speaking to the Mandalorian. So, will we get words? Will we get some kind of conversation? Will we get some kind of first words of Baby Yoda? What are they going to be? What if it's Luke's?
I know one of my good friends. She's nervous about how waiting. Like her baby is like a year and a half and still hasn't spoken.
Oh,
and I keep thinking about this baby that hasn't even cracked a single syllable out in over 50, 60 years. So, what's going to come out of that mouth of his?
Yeah. Who knows? Who can say? Certainly, man, it might be a language he doesn't understand. So that could be interesting too. Like, how does he tries to figure out,
or maybe
what he's saying?
He's going to use do premonition or something. He's I'm gonna read your thoughts, and I'm gonna have you read mine temporarily. I don't know.
Jay Scotty for real says, "Good morning from the attic." Hashtag addicted. Oh, I like that. Addicted with the 2 T's. Just doing my small part to contribute what I can. Thank you, Jay Scotty. Did you have to see the cinematic short for Star Wars Squadrons? Did you happen to see the cinematic short for Star Wars Squadrons? Between that and the Mandalorian season 2 trailer, a good week for Star Wars after some unsavory news. Yeah, and don't discount the timing. Listen, that whole Gina Carano stuff blew up over the weekend. Certainly I chimed in on it. There was a lot of people chiming in on it in this situation and what have you. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, the Mandalorian season 2 trailer drops. Very, very interesting. Same thing happened with the John Boyega thing. The day that John Boyega's interview got released, Star Wars came out with the release date for the Mandalorian season 2. So this is a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit unsavory appearances wise. But yes, positive stuff overall for Star Wars and for people to be excited about the property and the franchise. Look, what someone says outside of the franchise, I think it's an interesting place to be in. She's already shot her scene. She's already in the season. So I don't know if there's much they can do, in that way to edit out. If they want to edit her out, if they don't. But I also think Star Wars is like, we know what we got here. We're gonna go where we're gonna go, and that's that. And I don't like it 100% because I'd like them to come out and make a statement about it. But by the same token, it's their company and their business, so I don't know how they're gonna handle this situation overall. Alex, do you have any thoughts on that, or do you want to just kind of walk past it?
It's just kind of a really iffy situation that she unfortunately put herself in,
Yeah,
obviously. And I even mentioned it last week. She kind of put herself in some hot water after a few
yeah,
comments about opening up churches and
yeah,
businesses,
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Let's all right. But I mean, that's this is not impolite truths. We want to save that for some amazing Dorina and Rocha action. Okay,
Well
so I
said, Alex.
cannot also.
I didn't
I
know if
mean,
you
like,
wanted to pine on it, so I wanted to give you the
no, I
platform.
mean, like,
Feel free to
but
walk past it.
like, it's like no, but that's like if you're not watching that show, do
Oh, thank
yourself a flippin' favor and like go check it out. It's a fun time. It's actually really funny. I
you. Yeah.
didn't realize there's actually low key, even though it is like about politics and everything. It is very serious, but there is like a certain dry humor
Yeah.
that only Rocha and Dorina can have. So it's definitely a fun time. So just saying.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's something we can address later on for sure, and we'll move past it here. And I totally respect some people have commented already how they don't want to watch it because until they come out and make a statement about this whole situation. But don't hold your breath. They didn't make a statement. WB didn't make a statement about Ezra Miller, so I don't know if Disney will make a statement about Gina Carano. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to celebrate this great trailer. It looks fantastic. And the great work from people like Pedro Pascal and Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, all the people involved in this thing. Looks really, really good. Andrew G said, I know there are people that are done with Skywalkers, but it is entirely within the realm of possibility and reason for Luke to maybe show up or be mentioned, at least on this show. He's out there, likely the only known active Jedi Knight. It could happen. That's a fair point, Andrew G. The Jedi Knights are rebuilding the galaxy after the situation that happened in Endor, so where they defeated the Empire once and for all. So where do we go from here? So that would be interesting to see. Maybe Alex is right. Maybe there's a scene of maybe Sebastian Stan as Luke or a DA Nathan Hamill. So now you're back on board. Now
I am totally on board. Okay, yeah, no, now I'm totally on board. Okay, can we? Sebastian. My little MCU crustacean.
Wow, crustacean. All right. Oh,
you don't like Sebastian? Remember from Little Mermaid?
Little Mermaid. All right.
I was like,
all right.
Come on, man. What else is it going to be? Come on now.
Girl. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, totally. It's but it's also hilarious, just like how much they look identical. It's just like. It's like a running joke now, honestly. Just like a Jennifer Lawrence and like a young Helen Mirren. It's crazy when you put like the pictures side by side. But honestly, if it is, I can definitely see that. Now I do know that what I personally want is very different from everyone else, and also that doesn't mean it's gonna happen. That's just me. And I do know that thing is I am a very casual Star Wars fan. I'm not a diehard. And if people are gonna be happy about a franchise, I want the diehards to be happy about it. I want people that absolutely love Star Wars to love the show. I can be, it can be whatever for me, but I want you guys to be happy more than anything.
Yeah, that's fair. And Jay Scotty, I haven't seen that thing. I know it's 6.5 minutes, so I'll watch it after we're done. I've got about a 2-hour gap where I've got to work on some things for Top 10 and other shows, but I will definitely find 6.5 minutes to watch that Star Wars Squadrons trailer for sure, or that short rather. It looks really cool. So thanks so much for the heads up on that. All right, let's see if I've got any more Streamlabs super chats. No, but Dominique Everett subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Dominique. We really appreciate that. And keep sending in your Streamlabs. Keep sending in your super chats. And we've got over 200 of you all watching us live. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button. Move that cursor over and hit that thumbs up button with your mouse, please. We got 97 likes. Want to get up to 150, maybe even 200 likes for sure. All right. Let's move on to our second story here, Alex, and that is it came over the wire here that Jonathan Majors, actor that we've seen in Defy Bloods, an actor I've personally loved since The Last Black Man in San Francisco. He is killing it right now in Lovecraft Country. This comes to us from, I think, Variety or Hollywood. Yeah, it was Variety here. Sorry, it was Hollywood Reporter. They were reporting that the Ant-Man 3 cast is getting bigger and that Jonathan Majors is joining the next installment. And the rumors are, and sources, they're tying this to their sources, say that he will play classic villain, Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror is a time-traveling despot from the far future. He debuted as a villain in Marvel's Avengers #8 in 1964. He is intricately connected to the larger mythology of Marvel superhero universe, with ties to villains from Doctor Doom to Rama Tut and even Thanos, courtesy of a feud with Nebula in the 1990s comic landscape that was happening back then. Also, he's even faced off with everyone from Fantastic Four through Spider-Man 5. And for those of you who may not know Kang's history, he is, I think, from the 30th or 40th century.
31st.
31st century. And he's related past Duck Dodgers in the 24th. So he's in the 31st century, but he's related to Reed Richards. So does this mean we'll have a black Reed Richards if we have a black Kang? But also Kang the Conqueror, when he's a young man, is Iron Lad in the Young Avengers. So are we going to be working on multiple timelines tied to Kang the Conqueror? I don't know, because there's a lot of rumors about Young Avengers popping up and being introduced through Cassie, who is Ant-Man's daughter, Cassie Lang. Seeing what she's going to be, because Hulkling is supposed to be in Captain Marvel 2. That's the rumor. Wiccan might be involved in it. So there's a lot of rumors about Young Avengers being a part of the new phase as well, or at least being set up to be part of the new phase throughout these movies. All right, please, Alex. Sorry, I cut you off there. Please go ahead.
He's clearly a beautiful. He is a gorgeous man, by the way. He is a gorgeous man of color, but that does not mean Reed Richards has to be white in particular. I mean, he has to be white or also a person of color. I mean, it's 31st century versus,
Fair
you
point.
know, like in ours. So, I mean, like, let's be honest, people like generations. So, I mean, like,
Absolutely.
they don't have to look alike at all in the slightest. But yeah, so there's a lot of correlation between him over to Dr. Victor Von Doom, Fantastic Four, Ancient Egypt with Apocalypse and everything. He's a time traveler. He's heavily, one of his biggest influences is also, what's his face? Not Galactus.
Thanos?
I think about it, I think it is Thanos. But so it's kind of interesting how people. It's been mentioned that he is going to be signed on to Ant-Man, I believe. Ant-Man 3 also going to be directed by Peyton Reed, which I love. So the thing is, he's not really a Ant-Man villain. He's more of an Avengers villain. He is a villain of Fantastic Four more than anything. So his first involvement in an MCU movie is going to be in Ant-Man 3 is definitely an interesting choice. So I'm sure it's just going to be a quick cameo or a scene at the end of the credits or something along those lines. Just something behind the scenes, essentially, and where we're just going to get a little bit of a clue for the bigger scope. Yeah,
and he's another guy who's got some interesting connections with the Avengers. The first time he goes into the 20th century, he fights the Avengers and he captures Wasp. So, and Rick Jones. And Rick Jones hasn't been introduced yet, I don't think, in any of the MCU. So will we see Rick Jones now be a part of this thing? There's so much with him that's very interesting with Kang. If you talk about Iron Lad, are we going to have? Yeah, you say maybe there's not a black Reed Richards, since it could eventually down the road.
There could be, it could be. It just doesn't mean that directly they have to be like the same race. That's all.
Exactly. And it's never been 100% confirmed that he is a Reed Richards descendant descendant. So that's that kind of thing that's like kind of been up in the air for a while, but people have alluded to it in the comics. Certainly it's been explored, investigated, and what have you. But the Iron Lad thing is interesting to me too. Like if we get a younger version of Jonathan Majors as or the character of Kang the Conqueror as Iron Lad, then that means we got ourselves possibly a new Iron Man, and it's a black Iron Man, which I have no problem with. So that could be interesting too. So to me, I love that they're opening the doors to everything, right? And seeing what they can explore. There's no need to adhere to convention much anymore. We're starting into phase 5. There's all kinds of stuff that's going to go on here in phase 5. So, but I wonder now, with everything, with the pushing of all these movies and the pushing of Black Widow, do they start now to remove stuff from Black Widow that leads into Phase 5 and use that stuff and put it into the other movies and just release Black Widow as a one-off. I wonder, that has no connection to things, because remember, this is essentially a movie that in the timeline of the world of the MCU has already happened. That adventure with Black Widow has already happened. So do they have to necessarily tie it into the other stuff in Phase 5? If they keep pushing this thing and then they have to just kind of like drop it as a one-off, and then maybe that makes it more of a possibility to debut on Disney Plus rather than in the theaters. Alex, thoughts?
Rocha, you're whipping out these facts and I do not appreciate it.
Just something to think about.
You're making me think, and I don't like it. Come on, dude. I definitely think you're onto something when it comes to Black Widow. Unfortunately, it just kind of reminds us that I feel like we got Black Widow way too late in the game. Yeah. If this was 5 years ago, oh my gosh, this would be a very different conversation. Alas, it isn't, unfortunately. Yeah. It's frustrating, unfortunately, and with everything going on right now, obviously this changes their timeline, not only with the procession of the movies, obviously, but also as far as like how they're going to move forward as far as filming as well. And so they're trying to think to themselves, okay, well, we want to be filming Blade and this movie, here by this time, but realistically, in order to do that, we needed to have these scenes from this movie already come out and ready to go, and people already recognizing a lot of the characters and themes already. But it's just kind of a really weird situation MCU, but as well as a lot of studios are in right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I do think it's a great casting choice. I do love the idea of this character. It's such a fun villain. If we're gonna talk about weird, fun villains, it's Kang the Conqueror. He's now one of the top 10 MCU villains of all time. Yeah, he's like number 65 or something in the MCU. In Marvel overall. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's he's definitely a fun one, a weird one, and definitely a villain that's very memorable too. That's interesting to look at, and I'm excited to see on the big screen.
Yeah, just to give you a little background, some more background on Kang is very interesting. He does not have any superhuman abilities, so he's not one of these I don't know what you want to call it, like Superman type thing. I know this is Marvel, but he is an extraordinary genius, an expert historical scholar, and a master physicist who specializes in time travel. He's an engineer and a technician, and he is armed with 40th century technology. He is from the 31st century, but clearly being a time traveler, gone forward in time to get what he needs. And he has highly advanced battle armor that enhances his strength, is capable of energy, hologram, and force field projection. He is capable of controlling other forms of technology. He has a time ship. Another thing that's interesting about him is there's another version of Kang the Conqueror who sets up his base in he goes back to the 20th century to 1901. He establishes himself in a small quiet town called Timely, Wisconsin, where he resides as the mayor of the town, named Victor Timely. And then, posing as Victor Timely Jr., he develops an interest in visiting college graduate named Phineas Horton. Why is that important? Phineas Horton is the young man he will provide with the insights that eventually lead to him creating and being the original Human Torch. So that's another way that he might be connected to Fantastic Four. So that's another way that they may be setting up Fantastic Four without having them all just pop up and show up. It's little seeds throughout the next phase that set up the Fantastic Four coming together. So there's a lot here to explore. Plus his, like you said, his time traveling abilities. There's stuff here with the Avengers. Certainly there's stuff with mutants. Certainly stuff with X-Men. That's a possibility too. So there's a lot with Kang the Conqueror that it could be very interesting to explore here in the Marvel Universe. But saying that, Jonathan Majors is one of the just up and coming, incredibly strong actors, very unusual actor. Watching him in Da 5 Bloods, watching him in Lovecraft Country, he's one of these guys who treats acting like jazz. He plays within the beats of a song or he's doing stuff in between the beats that's just as magnetic as the stuff he's doing on the beat. And I find that fascinating when I watch him as an actor, because sometimes I'm like, are you in the same movie as everybody else, or are you in the same shows? Because you're operating on a way different wavelength, and I'm here for it. It's just fascinating to watch, and I wonder how that's going to fit into the MCU. And he may become the main big villain that takes the place of Thanos, and being introduced through Ant-Man, who has the quantum leap stuff and the time stuff. Very interesting path to go down for sure.
I don't know what that means. He acts like jazz. I don't know what that means, to be
Jazz,
completely honest.
jazz?
But but I mean, but I can't
That's
kind of see
smooth
where you're
jazz.
coming from. No,
Really?
the thing is, I can't say I've seen a lot with him. The only thing I've seen him in is Defy Bloods, which I thought he was fantastic in. So I know he's in Lovecraft Country. I definitely really have. I'm playing a marathon that sucker. When the time comes, I just started Mindhunter, just to let you know how far behind when it comes to TV I am. I just finished like the first 2 episodes of Mindhunter last night at like 3:00 in the morning. So that's where I am. But yeah, so I mean, he's definitely, you're not kidding, one of the hottest, up and coming actors we have going on today. Heck, even my mom knows who he is. My mom, like, even she's like, hey, who's that good looking guy from Lovecraft Country? And I'm like, I don't know, Mom. Aren't you getting married soon? Chill. And she's like, I know, but
your mom's getting married?
My mom is getting married. Yes.
Oh, yay. That's awesome.
She is. Yeah, she's very excited. But she was like, "Oh, who's that guy?" And I was like, "I don't know, Mom. Calm down. Let's chill for a little bit." But yeah, so I can't wait. I definitely am going to be actively trying to watch the stuff more with him. Yeah. Not to mention, I just encourage more people of color to be different, to be involved in this, to be involved in the MCU world. Just more superheroes for villains. I'm here for it overall. And at the end of the day, in Feige we trust.
Yeah. And Tessa Thompson said this phase was going to be more diverse for the MCU. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they create that and make it happen. So we'll keep an eye out. Just remember, there are other people of color too. There are Latinos. Like, let's just bring some of my people into this motherfucker, please. Let's have some fun. Andrew G says Kang is purple anyways. Yeah, fair point, Andrew G.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter who's playing him.
That does actually bring up an interesting point, Andrew. Thank you for mentioning that. Thing is, if we are gonna, I love that we're including more people of color as these mainstream characters, obviously, that are amazing. However, I don't like the idea of a lot of the the people of color also, like, in theory, cover up their skin at the same time, like Zoe Saldana.
Oh yeah.
Like she was like one of the first characters, people of color in the MCU. There's not, I mean, I can't think of them all that much on the top of my head, but but she's in green. She's an alien, so I mean, like, now we're getting this one and he's purple. So he's a beautiful man. I mean, like, I don't know why I would want to cover that up. So
yeah, I know. I wonder if that's something that should be addressed or talked about.
That's like a kind of a weird pattern. Yeah.
That's a fair point, Alex. You bring people of color in, but then constantly make them another color. That's an issue. I thoroughly 100% agree. That should be something that should be talked about. Brian Brawler says, wow, random Duck Dodgers reference. That's right. That's for all you Looney Tunes fans out there. All right. And then Sean Barrett. Oh, thank you, Sean. Very kind donation. He says, just dropped in to say hello and to tell Alex the Yankees are still the best. Have a great rest of the show. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that.
Whatever.
I don't know. I don't think we're doing well. Are we doing well? I don't think we're doing well. The Yanks are. I feel like we've been losing like crazy.
I don't know. How are the Cardinals doing? I need to look up. It's been a minute since it's like, if a team does bad, if the Blues do bad, or my boys the Cardinals do bad this season, I'm not exactly going to be like, oh man, it sucks for the rest of the season. Like, no, that's not the conversation we're going to have. I mean, it's just such a weird situation sports in general is. Like if you're like, it's like, no, it's such a weird standalone season. I don't feel like we're going to really talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ew.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
don't know.
Yeah,
Have
your
you seen those
Cardinals.
cardboard cutouts?
Yeah, I have
Fans.
seen those cardboard cutouts. Those are
It's
weird.
so
Those
funny.
are so weird. So yeah. 5 games in a row for the Yankees. We have won 5 in a row, but we're both of our teams are 4 games out of first place. So we're both in the same position in our respective divisions. So yeah. All right, cool. Thanks for the update, guys. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Pretty funny stuff. I appreciate it. So what does it say? I doubt they change his skin color significantly, if at all. Right. Exactly, Scotty, for real. That's
Yeah.
the problem. If we keep bringing in people of color, but then putting them in different colors, that's not a positive thing.
Yeah.
So we
Now,
should take a look.
Who knows? Maybe he's not going to be this purpley. Like, I can't actually. He's like this bluish purple man.
Right.
And that's totally fine. If we're gonna have another alien person be the next, like you mean, next villain for the Avengers, totally fine, awesome.
Yeah.
However, like, last handful of characters have been that were people of color are not their color.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes it a little iffy. So I mean, but
We'll see. And something to keep an eye on. All right. So, guys, we'll keep saying in Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along. We've got about 30 minutes left in the show. We're going to jump into one more news item, and then we'll hit our break and plug our stuff, and then probably finish out the show with one more because Star Wars took a sizable chunk of the show, and no surprise at all. So keep sending in your Super Chats and your Streamlabs, and we'll see when that's finally confirmed, when Jonathan Majors is on the set, and first shots of him as Kang the Conqueror. I'm sure people are going to be excited about it. And certainly John Schnepp, the big sweaty in the sky, King Sweaty, he would have loved the idea of Kang the Conqueror being someone that they're looking at. I know he spoke about it a lot on Collider Heroes when we were doing that show about Kang the Conqueror. So, I personally am looking forward to it. And this is another shot of him right there. There's Kang the Conqueror as well. Pretty cool shot. I like that shot of him there.
Cool.
So yeah, you can see Jonathan Majors in that, absolutely being a complete badass. All right, let's move on to a little bit of a controversial thing that was going on here. Jason Momoa spoke out in defense of Ray Fisher yesterday. This was an interesting situation for a lot of people. He spoke out about his experience on Just League set, saying he, Ray Fisher, and other cast members were treated in a, quote, shitty way by Warner Brothers. And on September 8th, Momoa first showed support for Fisher and his allegations of abusive and unprofessional behavior from director Joss Whedon and producer Jeff Johns and John Berg on the set while filming Justice League. Momoa was the first Justice League star to show solidarity with Fisher, posting to his Instagram story with the hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. On Monday evening, however, Momoa directly commented on his own experience while making Justice League. Let me bring that up for people to read here. It's on his Instagram post. He said, "This shit has to stop and needs to be looked at Ray Fisher and everyone else who experienced what happened under the watch of WB Pictures needs proper investigation. I just think it's effed up that people release a fake Frosty announcement without my permission to try to distract from Ray Fisher speaking up about the shitty way we were treated on Justice League reshoots. Serious stuff went down. It needs to be investigated and people need to be held accountable. Hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. Aloha Jay." Of course, that means Jason Momoa. So, Alex, I know we didn't want to talk about the Corona situation, but we kind of have to touch on this thing. This is a strong defense and support for Ray Fisher from Jason Momoa and calling out WB for issuing a fake Frosty the Snowman. Now he claims a fake Frosty the Snowman announcement that he was supposed to be doing with Jeff Johns, who is the person that is supposedly being investigated by an independent investigator in these situations. So what's your feeling about all of this, and what's your thoughts on Jason Momoa coming out in defense of Ray Fisher?
This is kind of a weird situation for Jason. I can't really imagine what must be going on in his head. The thing is, him and Ray, Jason has talked about how they were good friends from the get-go when they first started. They made an active effort to hang out outside of shooting and shooting the movie and everything, and they're just genuinely good friends, and they really kind of back each other up. Now it is really interesting to see as well that right after he wrapped up filming the movie, Jason Momoa, he ended up signing on to do a few movies with Jeff Johns. One of them is like a vampire hunter one where he's like a vampire, but at the same time he hunts like demons or something. But it's a comedy. Peter Dinklage is in it. I hope that's still going on because that still sounds like a good time. but also like this whole Frosty the Snowman situation, it's he's signed on to do these movies like right after, and so obviously there was bad blood, but I wonder if it was more like WB that was like did a lot of the did mishandling rather than Jeff Johns. That's what it makes it seem, because you wouldn't sign on to do these movies with Jeff Johns unless you were confident with them to a certain degree, obviously. So I feel like, and he doesn't mention Jeff Johns in this comment. He mentioned specifically WB as well. So I'm kind of curious if that's where his real problem is.
Well, I mean, he did say that the Frosty the Snowman announcement was a lie. So he's basically saying it's fake, saying he never signed on to do it with Jeff Johns. And you're saying, I don't see any other, maybe I'm off. I don't know if I see any other. I mean, Dune is not Jeff Johns.
I wonder if it like completely went away, because I remember you and I reporting on that story with Peter Dinklage, where he was a vampire. Peter Dinklage was the descendant of Van Helsing. It's supposed to be a kind of black comedy situation, and again, things like that happen all the time, where stories fall through, where projects they end up not going through for 1,000,001 reasons, and just things just don't work out, obviously. So I wonder if that might be the case here. I was excited for it, but I guess maybe it's not happening anymore.
Well, yeah, you're talking about Good, Bad, and Undead. That's Max Barbacow is doing this for Legendary, and it's the guy who did Palm Springs. This is what he's directing, but I don't think that it is connected. Yeah, it's not connected necessarily. It's not. I don't see Jeff Johns listed in the Hollywood Reporter announcement for it. They list Mark Swift and Damian Shannon as coming up with the original idea, and that Dinklage and Momoa are going to produce. But that doesn't mean that Jeff Johns isn't attached in some way. But I think the only one that was visibly Jeff Johns was the Frosty the Snowman announcement, and maybe WB released that to kind of be like, "Hey, see, Jeff Johns is totally fine. He's working with Jason Momoa and Frosty the Snowman." So Momoa coming out and specifically going after the studio for that announcement. I do get your point, though. He doesn't mention Jeff Johns by name, but he does say some serious shit went down. So that's a strong statement. So we shall see what gets revealed, what gets exposed. But I also find it fascinating these people aren't speaking out in interviews to detail what they experienced. Like, why isn't Momoa talking about in detail what he experienced? Why aren't the other people who were on the set talking about in detail, like Ray Fisher has, what they experienced? Maybe it's the investigation thing. Maybe they have to kind of keep it chill for now. I don't know. And of course, Fisher has been very vocal about how he doesn't feel this investigator is independent, and this investigator has blindsided him at times on calls, with having another person on the call without telling him another person's on the call or not warning him ahead of time. So there's a lot of, and that the investigator is only reporting to WB. And now he claimed yesterday that the investigator is ignoring witnesses who are coming forward to speak up and say what they saw on the set, and is not circling back to question other people who about those witness statements. So this is all a very jumbled mess going on here. And I think WB is doing a lot of face saving rather than just admitting the situation and moving on from it, especially now in the current environment of Black Lives Matter and everything that's going on in our world and our world entertainment. Smarter move just to step forward and say, you know what, it's a bad situation. Totally, we should have been better about it. Let's punish Jeff Johns, let's punish Joss Whedon, and let's move on from it. Because I don't know. I just feel like you've got your cash cow and Jason Momoa with that Aquaman thing. You don't want to mess that up, in my opinion. What do you? Alex, on that? Yeah.
No, I totally agree. It's, if you're going to make anyone happy when it comes to that group of people, you want to keep Gal Gadot happy, and you want to keep Jason Momoa happy in particular. Obviously, they are your cash cows. Ray Fisher, he's as far as I've heard, that they're not making a Cyborg movie anymore.
Yeah,
that's not something, to me, he was one of the big standouts from Justice League, the movie. But let's be honest, people weren't exactly like clamoring for it after. Unfortunately. So, things might change. Also we have to remember is that when it comes to making these movies, that, these are actors that are trying to think for themselves. Sorry, my cats are fighting.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. You need to handle that?
Oh no, but like they're just like it's that time of day where they're like, oh yeah, like energy is like they're zipping around. Crazy. But Ray Fisher, as far as I know, he's not making a whole bunch of movies or anything right now. He doesn't have a lot of upcoming projects. Jason Momoa, he does, obviously, and he's trying to think to himself, how can I not only save face, going through this, but how can I make sure not to burn any bridges, but at the same time vocally support my good friend, my coworker, obviously, and that's a very difficult situation to be in overall. And let's face it, Jason Momoa, he is getting movies, but at the same time, he's not exactly he's a character actor. He's only going to be cast in certain types of roles, certain types of movies. He's not going to be Joe Schmo. He's not going to be up for any Oscars. That's just not who he is. I would love to see it happen, but realistically, it's not going to happen.
Alex, so, or the hammer on him. Oh, wow!
It's true. I'm sorry. It's just true. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen, guys. Things might happen in the future,
right?
But let's face it. I also kind of put in the same wheelhouse as like The Rock. The Rock is never going to be going up for an Oscar, and also he's very vocal about it too.
Now you're walking into a minefield, and I think you should stop. I think you should not.
A minefield that I would, however, no problem walking out of. I'll pull a Gal Gadot, a little Wonder Woman, and just be like, pew, 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 pew.
Talk about someone who's not going to see Oscars. Talk about someone who's not winning Oscars. The Rock will win an Oscar. Trust me, he will win an Oscar one day.
Yeah, when he decides he's gonna. Yeah, when he's actually taking actual roles that doesn't involve him like bulking up and stuff.
It is
but
that's
Hitch. Not good.
It was good in Hitch or Snitch, whatever it's called. Snitch.
I'm sorry, what movie was that? That I've never heard of? What?
It's called Snitch. It's him and John Barenthal and Benjamin Bratt, and he's trying to save his child from being under the influence of a drug dealer, drug kingpin.
Oh, wow.
Very good dramatic movie. Very good.
Wow, one drama.
I know.
In the world of Skyscraper and Rampage and Central Intelligence and Jumanji, the next level. Wow, that one random drama. Crazy.
I know you're right.
Give him an Oscar. You know what? Just give him the best. Oscar for the best lead Oscar.
I think
best leading actor. I do think you're right. We should give him an Oscar right now for best lead actor. Just give it to him. He deserves it for that one movie.
We'll find out one of these days. Just
in like 20 years, maybe. In like 20 years.
You ate your words about Ben Affleck coming back to Justice League. I'm going to make you.
No, absolutely. I ate my words on that. Absolutely. I also don't think he should come back, but
I know you.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I love him. I think he's fantastic.
Super chat from Craig Ward said, I love the Mandalorian trailer. We need more good villains in the MCU. Hopefully Kang will deliver it. I agree, Craig. Hopefully that does happen. Great picture.
Hey, Craig, great picture. I'm so jealous. And I love you're wearing the Schmo Snow shirt. It's so good.
With Hammy. He's hanging out with Hammy. Appreciate it.
With a Mikey.
Mark.
Mikey. What's up, Mikey? Senor Hamil.
Senor Hamil.
Hamil.
And then we have Ben Rayner donate. Thank you, Ben Rayner. He said, I believe Jason and Fisher. I just wish there were more details. I agree. I'm sure there's stuff that went down. Just would like details, if that makes sense. Of course it does, Ben. Absolutely. But, with these kinds of things, it's probably a lot of, what they can and can't release, what they're allowed to talk about legally until it's proven. They don't want to, put something out there and they get sued for defamation of character or libel or slander. That's certainly and then get caught up in court cases and then have to spend their money being caught up in these court cases. And so I think that's the last thing they want to do. But I agree with you. I think when the time is right, Ben, they'll be releasing details, or someone writes an incredible book about what went on behind the scenes in this situation. I think the two greatest books that are going to be written over the next 20 years are be the one person who writes the most extensive, detailed book about what happened with this whole Zack Snyder Justice League situation in WB, and the person who writes the book about what happened during the sequel trilogy with Kathleen Kennedy and everybody involved, just her entire time being in charge of Star Wars. If you could find someone who went all the dirt, it would be great.
I do think you might be onto something, because I also think that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson should also get some kind of literary award for potentially writing some kind of book. I think just writing one book, one maybe two books would definitely give him the accolades he deserves to win the best literary awards the world has ever seen. So just for just dipping his toe in that whole
I
pool,
agree.
definitely deserves it.
I agree, King Zande. I agree.
I also want to mention I do love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but I mean we got to be honest about what kind of movies is the dude making? He's making action comedies. I love that. He's making family films, things like that. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, that was also like his second movie, third movie over in Be Cool. And his first one was his first feature-length film was Scorpion King. No, wait, no, The Mummy Returns. As the Scorpion King.
Yes, The Mummy Returns and then The Scorpion King.
Oscar worthy.
But he did do Be Cool when he was thinking that he had to lose a lot of weight. So when you see him in Be Cool, he's way thinner than he is now. And he realized if I pack it on, I can become an action star, and he's done that. And so
he's still
smart move.
Massive.
Yeah, he is. He is. But I think there's
older of a man.
There's a possibility. Vincent Jetson with the overreaction, of course. I don't know who this Vincent Jetson is. He says, Rocha, let's just make every character black. Let's overcorrect and get rid of all. Yeah, nobody says that. But, of course, people want to, twist and manipulate the idea of having a little bit of equality, a little bit of diversity in these movies. And they overreact and they put on these stupid, misguided, incorrect, pearl-clutching Chicken Little stuff. And it's so frustrating because this is the kind of stuff that doesn't allow for actual discourse, actual conversation, actual compromise. This is just your father raised a bad kid. I'm sorry, Vincent, you were a bad kid. All right, go ahead.
Vincent, I do want to mention, I do to a certain extent see where you come from. I do think that's kind of a misguided statement. But when it comes to overcorrecting, thing is I don't think MCU or these franchises are trying to overcorrect.
Right.
I think they're just trying to do better and make a conscious choice to move forward and with the diverse cast. And there's nothing wrong with that. Also, there's nothing. I do think it's important when it comes to one of the big things when it comes to casting these really iconic characters is that if race has a big role in their character, like we under no circumstances should Black Panther be a white actor. Yeah, obviously, like in that case it needs to be an African American man or an African actor to play that character under. It needs to. It's required. But for someone like Reed Richards or like an Iron Man, for example, it's not pivotal to their character, or character development or anything for them specifically to be a white actor or a Hispanic or a Black actor or heck, a woman. I mean, so it can be as long as it's just as long as it's kind of true to the character overall, that's what matters. It's not necessarily race doesn't have to be played into it. So it's kind of fun to mix around. Why not?
I agree.
Yeah.
Why I see the same thing over and over again. Brian Brawler says, first of all, that's not happening in my lifetime. He's talking about The Rock winning an Oscar. So I think so. Respect, Brian. I appreciate that. All right.
In like 80 years. The man's like immortal. So let's be honest.
It's true. He is immortal.
He does have a wrinkle on him.
There's no Streamlabs super chats that have come in recently other than that one that we just got. Potter Broadway fan 11 though has subscribed, so thank you Potter Broadway fan, appreciate that. Yeah, sure, hire the best people for the job. It's actually not that simple, William Lee Pratt. It's never been that simple because it's never occurred in the history of time that you have always consistently hired the best person for the job. We've had terrible people in jobs that were gotten because they knew somebody, they were related to somebody, or they happen to have a lot of followers or happen to be a certain color or a certain way. So this ridiculous thing that has never existed. We've never consistently hired the best person for the job in any situation. We haven't. We have occasionally done it, but we haven't always done it. So, it would be, if it was simple, it would be done all the time simply. All right. Let's see. Let's take a break here, Alex. To start talking about the stuff that you've got going on. What is going on in your world? Where can people find you?
I'm going to be watching for the very first time today. I'm going to be watching Beverly Hills Cop. So I'm gonna be watching that today. It's gonna be real fun, and we're gonna be covering on tonight's episode of Cinema Vice. It's gonna be all that in a bag of chips. So definitely come hang out. It starts at 10 o'clock Central. I'm co-hosting the show with Video Drew. We're having a patron come on. We're gonna dive into the movie. It's gonna be so much fun. Not to mention Eddie Murphy. I mean, guaranteed good time, let's be honest. So we're gonna be doing that. I also am gonna be doing some really great schmobates next week. I'm gonna be doing a swag themed schmobate. Schmobates is my Schmodown themed debate show over at the Call to Action podcast here on YouTube, so definitely please go check it out. I'd really appreciate it. And here this week we're trying to finalize everything with a Rockstars themed episode, so it's everything is lining up, so please stay tuned.
That's awesome. Well, listen, real quick. I'll try to do this real quick. All the stuff that's going on the Outlaw Nation channel. Yesterday, we had a new episode of Game Time there with me and Jay Washington and Winston Marshall. Winston went off on one of his classic rants. You don't want to miss that and get involved with that. We also dropped the new episode of Top 10 this morning. Top 10 podcast dropped this morning. We had a lot of fun recording this particular episode. I'm always a fan of what we get to do when we get to do it on camera with Nost and I. It's not always let's see how I say it's not always the easiest to schedule, but we do it. And we did top 10 non-superhero comic book movies. That's the new top 10. It's up there on YouTube. It's up there on the podcast channel as well. Also tonight, my Outlaw Nation guest will be the great Laura Kelly. Laura Kelly, who is my co-host on the Jedi Way. I thought this would be a great way for us to sit down and talk for a couple hours. And who knew there was going to be so much Star Wars stories dropping over the last 3 days. So we'll definitely be getting her thoughts on all those and getting our thoughts together on all those as well. And what else I got going on? Oh, yeah, Impolite Truths live at 7 p.m. PT this week. Every week now, up until the election, we're doing a live Impolite Truth. So get involved with all of that. And one last thing. Oh, yeah, my review for Ted Lasso with my Geek Buddies pal there, Shannon McClung. We talked about episodes 4 through 7. So if you're watching Ted Lasso, come and watch our spoiler review. They've gotten up to episode 7 now and hear what we think about how the show has progressed over these last 4 episodes and where we think it's going to end up as we round the corner into the final 3 episodes of the first season. And one last thing. This is massive. We just got the art last night from Brian Ward. Boom! Finally, the patron match here, the Rocky Trivia Championship between me and Christian Harloff is going to be on the Schmodown feed there on September 18th. It's available for the $10 and above patrons on September 18th. The $5 and above patrons get it on September 25th, and then all patrons get it on October 2nd. We shot this one months ago, me and Christian going at it for the Rocky belt. Both of us are massive Rocky fans. I put the challenge out, and Christian was gracious enough to let me fight for the belt. It's a hell of a match. That's what I can tell you. So look for that on the Schmodown Entertainment Network and on the patron feed. There you go. All right, boom. Yes, Alex.
I have to ask, on your top 10 list, I just looked up what topic it is.
Yeah.
And it is non-superhero comic book movies. I have to know, is Persepolis on the list?
It's a good question. Is Persepolis on the list?
Please be on the list. Please be on the list.
Is Persepolis on the list? I don't know. You'll have to watch. I don't know if I can say.
Come on, dude.
We don't give away things for that show.
Come on. I know 300 is obviously going to be on the list because it's John Rocha. I mean, also you've also brought it up like 10 times in the past 3-4 months.
I know it's weird. It's been kind of been popping up on certain things. So we're trying to figure out new subjects so that we can talk about new or different movies. So we're trying to expand the scope of top 10 even more. So any suggestions would be appreciated, Alex. So yeah, there you go. But yeah,
dude, do I have suggestions? That's like asking, do the people in the chat have opinions?
Oh yeah, they do. They do. Absolutely.
Come on now.
Absolutely.
Come on. Also, Men in Black better be on that list.
And
Adam's Family. Oh gosh, I will fight anyone.
Adam's Family. Is that a comic book movie?
It is 100% a comic book movie. It's based off a comic book strip that turned into a comic
strip. Not a
but it was turned into a comic.
Okay.
Actually, like a regular like a graphic novel.
Right.
I know because I think Lucas actually had a handful of them.
Oh, okay.
It's like starting in the 70s.
Right.
but I
Right.
could be thinking of a different one. Maybe, but I know there's Ghost World as well as like in a similar style. Anyway, different topic. Anyway, that's
We
off topic.
we tried
That's
to stay
another topic
off
for another day.
the fantastical stuff. We tried to
Yeah.
stay off fantastical stuff. So
Well,
here's
yeah.
a spoiler alert. No, Howard the Duck is not on the list. I will tell you that much. I will tell you
Oh,
that.
it's art Transformers. I mean, like, there's like it's kind of an interesting. No, I mean, no. That thing. I was trying to think. Like, there's like, I know it's like it could be. I think it is a manga series now. But
Sure.
there's a definition of what is a superhero. Like
Right.
Red, they're super assassins, but
Right.
also the Kingsmen. I consider them like superheroes, even though
Kingsman?
they're not technically
Sure.
superheroes.
It's
They're not
possible.
superheroes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
same for V. I consider V from V for Vendetta a superhero, kind of, even though he's not technically a superhero. So it's like, you know.
I think B for Vendetta can qualify. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Although he is kind of like a Captain America light in that he is physically
Yeah,
able to
absolutely.
fight. So I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Spawn, The Crow, The Shadow, The Phantom. You've only named one good movie out of those four, Tushka, for
Dude,
God's sakes.
The Phantom and the Shadow is so corny. I love it. Not to
So
mention
corny.
Catherine Zeta-Jones and the Phantom. Oh, dude.
I
Oh,
always
so
forget she's
beautiful.
in. Right.
She's that and Christy Swanson.
Yeah.
And Billy Zane. Oh my gosh.
Billy Zane.
Oh my gosh. They're
Yep.
so
Yeah.
they're so beautiful.
Is
And
Rocketeer
it's like
a
this.
superhero movie? Is
No.
Rocketeer? No? Oh, no, it's not based on a comic book.
Well, true. It is
Yeah.
true. It is a Marvel property, but it is not. Ooh, is Blade technically?
Blade is a superhero because he's half vampire. So he's like he's altered.
So I mean, but so in order to be a superhero, there has to be a supernatural element. What about Sin City?
Yeah. Possible. Sin City's possible.
That is, but that's totally supernatural.
Is it?
There's
Where?
elements of supernatural.
Who's
I feel like
supernatural?
like there's elements of supernatural, like where he's like a what's his face, like where he's like he turns into a weird
Yellow bastard?
yellow cheese man.
Yeah, the yellow bastard. But that's a
Yeah.
skin issue. That's a skin issue that happened in the surgery.
Is it a skin issue? I always like I look at him like someone cursed him and he became that way kind of situation.
The Losers. Is it good? I don't want to see the movie because I loved the comic book and the movie didn't get good reviews. So I've never watched the movie. I want to watch the movie, but I'm afraid I won't like it. But hey, I got knocked out in the singles tournament, so I got a lot of time. I got a lot of time now to watch movies.
Blue is the warmest color.
Oh yeah, that qualifies. That could be good. Yeah.
I stand by a Ghost World. Old Boy is technically a comic book.
Yeah, Ghost World is
Atomic
great.
Blonde.
Atomic Blonde, certainly a possibility as well. I wonder if any of those are going to show up. History of Violence. Sure.
Oh man, I don't. Road to Perdition.
Sadiq, what are you talking about? What about Batman? What do you mean? What about Batman? What's wrong? It's literally not the definition. Anyway, all right. Where are we at right now? All right, no Streamlabs, no super chats so far. So, Alex, you want to take our last thing for Mulan, our last news item?
Guys, get ready. Oh my gosh. Surprise. Mulan, surprise, is not making money. Crazy. Who'd have thunk? Oh my gosh. As we all know, Mulan opened up very recently on Disney Plus, obviously, for a whopping $30 on top of, the monthly, $10 as well, which is kind of crazy. It did recently expand into Asia, not only North America and Europe as well, but the movie itself cost over $200 million to make. This kind of really big fantasy, supernatural fantasy epic, based off of the 90s animated movie. Now, the movie costs over $200 million to make, and that's not even include marketing. However, so far to date, including the recent box office from China, the movie hasn't even cracked $38 million, which is really kind of an interesting situation. Now, the movie was actually made in compliance. The Disney made it in compliance with the Chinese government in order to make this happen, because they really wanted to ensure a Chinese box office was going to be there. However, there's been a lot of controversy going on regarding this movie. Several of the stars involving in the movie, that the woman that played Mulan herself, I can't remember her name. I feel really bad, but she actually posted to her social media pictures of when they were filming, talking about, we just want to thank this region in particular. And what region is she talking about? a little area over in in West China where there's camps, re-education camps, in particular, where a lot of people of Chinese Muslims, people populations are actually being held there for re-education, and they have been there detained for quite some time. So there's a lot of controversy over that, but also, like I said, there's a huge media blackout as well when it comes to with the Chinese government did a really big media blackout for this movie as well. A lot of movie theaters actually only had a handful of days to really market this movie and to sell tickets and everything before apparently the Chinese government was like, nah, we don't want you to show this movie all that much. So you just ex-nay that. So overall, it's not making that much money overall. Surprise. I know, it's crazy. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of controversy going on behind the scenes. And I'm really kind of curious what the next big step, for Disney is when it comes to these big epics. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is they had all the right intentions, having a Chinese cast. They wanted to pay respect to the legend of Mulan, the original story from the 16th century, and they wanted to remove the music, and they wanted to approach it from a dramatic place rather than what they felt, quote unquote, ironically, a Disney place, right? The idea they didn't want to make it too playful, too kiddie. They wanted to actually be serious. But in the end, they had too many missteps because either they didn't understand the cultural situations that were going on, or didn't properly vet some of the actors to see what their previous statements are, or didn't properly tell the actors, hey, once you've signed on to this, you've got to stay out of any controversy. You got to not speak your opinions on anything. Like, we're trying to make some money off this. After the thing releases and everything happens, you can make your money and you can say whatever you want to say, blah, blah, blah. So there was a number of factors, I think, that just kind of worked against Mulan. And then in the end, it's not that great of a movie. It really isn't. It's a good movie, or it's an okay movie, I think I would say. But it kind of falls short in its intentions, which was to be a dramatic retelling of this story with some inspiring moments. And in the end, I don't think they had enough inspiring moments to kind of push it over the line. So all the hullabaloo, all the issues, and then you throw in COVID, which really threw everything off. It just allowed more and more people to be skeptical about the movie, to want to criticize the movie. And people all of a sudden who've become China experts overnight are like, Disney should talk about this. Disney should blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but do you really know the entire history of what you're talking about? Or are you just reading one article and then going crazy on social media about it? And so that's the thing, that sometimes you have to look at this situation. So I think a lot of factors worked against Nikki Caro and her attempts to make this movie a good movie and release it and have it be beloved by the world. Because I certainly enjoyed this experience of Mulan more than I enjoyed watching Lion King. And yet Lion King made $1.6 billion, even though it's essentially a shot-for-shot remake of the animated film. Whereas this one at least tried to do different things. It didn't fully accomplish it, but the effort should be rewarded, or should be applauded, at least to try to do something different. But in the end, Alex, just a lot of political things around it. And because China is it's a combustible situation politically, and how you feel about it. Even the NBA, with all their social justice stuff, none of that stuff could mention China. They barred any mention of China because they have a large financial commitment and profit center in China. So they don't want to ruin that by getting that involved with the social justice stuff. So it's just a very convoluted situation. And unfortunately, I think Mulan just got caught up in it. And if it had been a better movie, I think it could have survived, but it just got swallowed up overall, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, Disney movies in particular, especially with a lot of these live actions, this is also one of the first big international productions. This is a huge fantasy epic. This movie, it was also one of the first remakes that I can think of, honestly, that's not focused on, without with a person of color, as like the main star. And I do want to mention, there's like a lot of mentions like, oh, they didn't do the research on the actors or anything. I do want to mention that, when Disney came together with the Chinese government in order to make this production happen, in order to do the best they can with, having actual, Chinese actors involved, a lot of people behind the scenes involved as well. They actually helped select a lot of these actors in particular. Gong Li, for example, Yifei Liu. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering these names, but they actually helped select these, and they were firsthand involved in the production from start to finish. So, there was an active effort on both parts to make things go swimmingly. However, obviously with everything going on with Hong Kong, with everything going on with now more than ever in particular, there's a lot of political unrest, obviously, and there's a lot of skepticism in general. So I am not surprised that this was definitely the risk, that this would ended up becoming the riskiest production that they have. But it's also really disappointing because I don't want Disney to think, well, we tried making a really big, awesome movie based off a person of color and this amazing story, but it didn't make money. So I guess we're not going to try it again for another 10 years. I would be really disappointed if that's the direction they go with, honestly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So we'll see. I mean, they tried, it just didn't quite hit the notes, and overall on a number of fronts, and ended up costing the movie in the long run. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody. A lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money, because a $200 million film. That she was the first woman to have a $200 million film. Nikki Caro was. So that's the thing. So I hope this doesn't mean, oh, let's not give women any money. If they start doing that stupid idea, that needs to stop as well. All of it is just, to me, is, it is a bad situation overall for Mulan. So, all right. Anyway, one last thing we should say. Alex sent this to me before we started the show. Real quick before we wrap up, R.I.P. Rest in to Al Kasha. He is the Oscar-winning composer for The Morning After and We May Never Love Like This Again. He died Tuesday and today at 83 years old. He worked alongside songwriting partner Joel Hirshhorn, and they won Oscars for those two songs that I just mentioned. The Morning After, There's Got to Be a Morning After. I grew up with that song. We May Never Love Like This Again, of course, Morning After, from The Poseidon Adventure, that great 1973 film with Gene Hackman. And in 1975, apparently they love disaster movies. We May Never Love Like This Again is from The Towering Inferno. And they also wrote some songs for Pete's Dragon, the original 1977 Disney classic there. They were nominated for the song Candle on the Water, which is sung by Helen Reddy in the film. Kasha received Tony Award nominations for the scores for 1981's Copperfield and 1982's Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Marie McGovern recorded the song for The Morning After. And just last year, the song was included in Eddie Murphy's Dolomite Is My Name. So there was a lot of stuff going on here with him. So shout out to him, and much respect for all the incredible work he left in our world. He is survived by his wife, Seal Kasha, their daughter, Dana Kasha Cohen, son-in-law, Randy Cohen, and grandson, Dean Cohen. So much love to him, and what an incredible legacy to leave to, accomplish so much on Broadway and in the world of film. All right, one more Streamlab. Oh, Jay Scotty, thank you. He said, with Disney's live action remakes of their animated classics becoming less and less well received, what legends, myths, and tall tales should they adapt as new animated features? I think it'd be cool to see American folklore legends like Paul Bunyan. Thoughts? Alex?
I think that'd be a really fun idea. I like the idea of, like, Paul Bunyan. I saw Paul Bunyan. That's I don't know what that is. Paul Bunyan. That should be like the new Disney movie. Paul Bunyan. That's like a superpower. Just whipping out the puns. And you get a pun, and you get a pun. Everybody gets a pun. That should be like the new movie. I really like I really kind of like the idea of I would love to see more stories focused on Incas, Mayans in particular as well. I think that would be really cool. We haven't really seen any movies or stories from that group of, that from that culture, from that period, and I would love to see that. I think that'd be a really fun time, personally. And it's so much more than Apocalypto. Just want to put that out there, obviously.
Fair.
Mhm. It'd
Some
be so
puns for
cool.
Alex's day. I was wondering while the ball was getting bigger than it hit me. I have a few jokes about unemployed people, but none of them work. When life gives you lemons, you're dyslexic.
Oh, how dare you?
Will glass coffins be a success? Remains to be seen. I lost my job at the bank on my very first day. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her over. There you go. All right, those great puns from Paul Punyan. Punions and Funyuns. I like that. Punions and Funyuns.
I'm so here for this, guys. Please send it to me on Twitter. Send me all the puns. I want every single pun you got. Whip them out for me. Attack me with the puns.
She's a stand for the puns. I agree with you, AJ Scott, but I wouldn't say they're being less and less well received by the fans of our sphere. But I think overall, you can't argue Lion King making $1.6 billion. You can't argue Aladdin making almost $1 billion itself. So I don't think they're necessarily being less and less well received by the rest of the world, but certainly by a lot of us in this sphere, we don't feel that they're doing well, but they are doing well. Mulan was one of those rare exceptions, actually, that didn't do well. Cinderella's done well. I don't really include the Maleficent ones necessarily. I guess the first one, yeah, but the other ones that have done the actual live action translations, they've done well. The Beauty and the Beast made money. That did well. You may not like the quality of the film, but it did well. So it's just like those things. But I agree. I would love to see, I think with Black Lives Matter and everything happening, I think I'd love to see a John Henry movie, an actual full-on awesome John Henry movie that reverberates and feels prescient now. What? You don't know who John Henry is? Really? Look this up. It's fantastic stuff.
That doesn't
he's a black man from back in the birth of this country, back when they were doing the railroads, and the whole legend of John Henry is about the fact that he was this huge man who could knock in a pin in the railroads with just one swing.
Wait, I thought that was Paul Bunyan.
No, Paul Bunyan is the guy with the beard and the axe and the blue ox. That's Babe, his blue ox. That's Paul Bunyan.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if I would want that at all, honestly.
There you go.
I feel bad. Like it's like,
all right.
I don't know. I'm kind of. I don't want more stories that kind of focus on people of color to be about the. I want more stories to be about people of color for stories that aren't focused on their, the horrible past. I want to kind of focus on stories that are kind of more focused on not that.
But that's not the story. The story is about him fighting a steam engine, which is about the idea of technology overtaking man. That's the overall story. Yes, he's black.
So it's more about anti-industrialization.
Right. That's what it's more about that. And that's why I think they could still work. Man versus machine. Yeah, that's the story. Because they bring a steam engine that essentially would eliminate the jobs of the people that are there that John Henry works with. And so John Henry challenges the steam engine in Legend to how many nails it can put in the railroad to put those spikes through. And John Henry beats the steam engine, but in the end, it kills him. The effort kills him. So they remember him out of respect because he saved their jobs and saved their lives. He fought against technology.
It sounds like industrialization wins in that case, in that story.
Only if because if he beat the steam engine, then you can argue that.
But he died.
Yeah, but he still
died
won.
Beating it. So you can only beat industrialization if you die.
There you go. That's a good angle to put towards it. I certainly something to explore.
That's no.
Well, I'm sure they can change things, Alex. I'm sure they can change things, Alex.
I don't want it. Just kidding. Honestly, you can make a whole entire show talking about pitching weird, amazing movies, and I'm so here for it. Spoilers.
Sorry, man. Sorry, I spoiled the 200-year legend.
sorry to break it down for you. As well.
Give her pickles, Bill.
Please send me the puns. I'm so here for the puns. I love it. I really, really do. You know, it's
Thank you. All right. We got to wrap up. SCN Live starting in 5 minutes. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching this episode of Mornings with the Outlaw. I can't thank you all enough for taking time to watch with us. Over 250 all were watching us today. We got 239 watching now. Please leave a like on this video as well. We're at 177 likes. Would love it as we're wrapping up over the next minute to get those who didn't hit the like button to swing your cursor over and hit that thumbs up button. Get us over 200 before we wrap up here. Alex, one last time, where can people find you and everything you got going on?
You can find me making really bad punions situations here on Twitter at @real_AlexMack. You can also find me part of the Call to Action podcast on YouTube, but also anywhere podcasts are found. Just saying. It would be pretty awesome if you found me right here. Yeah, just
there
saying.
You go.
Just saying. It would be pretty darn dope overall. Yeah, but like I said, tonight you can find me on Cinema Bias at 10 o'clock Central discussing Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, there you go. Banana in the Tailpipe. All right, yeah, you are not the only one who remembers the movie Tall Tales, Matthew Dawson. You are not. And Pecos Bill is the answer, Tushka. Pecos Bill is the one who rode the wind. He rode the hurricane. And, of course, he died. Well, no, he didn't die. He had to keep riding the hurricane, and he lost his love. That was the tragedy. All these tall tales have tragedies, you know. So definitely something to explore for sure. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the Outlaw Nation channel down below if you haven't yet. Hit that red button. Get us to that past the 14,000 subscribers mark, marching towards 15,000, marching towards 20,000. Give it some love in that way. And remember to like and share this video on your social media as well. You like and share it, tells your friends and family that you do like this stuff, and maybe they'll take a chance on it, come joining our mornings crew as well. Also, leave a comment down below if you're watching after we've done this live, and a lot of you all do. Leave a comment down below. The more comments you leave, the more likes you leave, it elevates the visibility of this show and this channel and puts it on the side to suggest for people to watch it there. So do that as well. And of course, don't forget the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network is up and going as well. Sorry. Every show you see here on the Outlaw Nation, except for Geek Buddies, is available in podcast format on the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network. So go and subscribe to that. I'm trying to get above 1,000 subscribers on that. Can't seem to get above 500 on it. So would love for anybody to go over there and go and subscribe. And listen, you can just turn off the download thing. Just want you all to subscribe. So I would love to get over 1,000 so we can start putting ads on that as well. All right. Thanks so much. Don't forget SCN Live at 10 a.m. So about 3 minutes over there on the SCN network. And don't forget Laura Kelly is my guest tonight, 6 p.m. PT on the Outlaw Nation show. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget today at 12:30, my last Schmodown backstage as the co-host of the show. I'm stepping down. So come and watch it. We'll have some special guests. We'll have some great conversations and definitely opening it wide open to your questions from Streamlabs or Super Chats or whatever. So I'm down to answer anything, controversial or not, since it's my last show. So if you got something to say and you've been talking about me, bring it to the Schmodown backstage and let's have a conversation. Let's have a back and forth. I'm down. All right. Thanks, everybody. Much love to all of you. And we'll talk to you on Thursday with another brand new episode of Mornings with the Outlaw. Take care until then. Peace. And Alex, what do we always tell them?
Wear a mask. Please.